What is up, everybody? RandomRandomMan here, bringing you a special kind of video. This is actually a viewer requested video brought to us by YouTube user EB_, who in my previous video asked if he could see my Blu-ray collection. Now, I've been thinking about doing a Blu-ray collection video for a long time now, but I've hesitated on it mainly because A, I don't own that many Blu-rays, and B, I haven't really found the time or the will to even do a video like this. But now that I got the request to do it, I will act upon it fully. Once again, I don't own that many Blu-rays. I only have about a couple dozen or so right in front of me, as A, I really don't often buy movies that frequently, but if I do, B, I either really want to watch them again, or C, I just want to have them in my collection. So, without further ado, let's get started. Starting off my collection, we have one of my favorite movies of 2016 thus far, and that is 10 Cloverfield Lane. Really surprised me when I first saw this back in theaters back in March. This is a well-acted, smaller scale, intense thriller that really left you gripping your seat as you watched the whole thing. The ending did divide a lot of people, but I personally loved where it went, as I did with the film overall. Just a quick note on this actual release too. This is a weird looking slipcover. I mean, have you ever seen a partial slipcover like this? That when you lift it up, it has a different picture of the Blu-ray and... Up next is a triple feature Blu-ray set that includes 3 masterpieces from Stanley Kubrick, and they are 2001: A Space Odyssey, A Clockwork Orange, and The Shining. What can I say about Stanley Kubrick that hasn't been said about him already? He is an auteur filmmaker, personally one of my all-time favorite movie directors. A Clockwork Orange in particular is my favorite movie of his and one of my all-time favorite films in general. And just these movies represent a lot of his greatness when he was making films that are just so thought-provoking and well worth seeing if you haven't seen them already. American Hustle, my favorite movie of 2013, and just a very well-acted ensemble piece coming from director David O. Russell. This is probably my favorite film of his just because I love the time period, its setting. I liked how it balanced action in that there's always something going on, comedy, drama, and romance all together in one. Although I do enjoy many of his other movies too, but I just like this one because it sticks out in my mind with the cast, the writing, just everything that comes in between with this film. Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, one of my absolute favorite movies of 2014. Incredible ensemble cast with a very tour de force lead performance from Michael Keaton in particular. The writing and direction from Alejandro González Iñárritu make him one of my favorite filmmakers today. And this release in particular has a very nice opening slipcover with more quotes praising the movie, and the actual Blu-ray itself, that is awesome. It's a red case matching the red slipcover. The Book of Life, one of the few movies in my collection that I've actually blind bought. I usually don't blind buy movies, but this movie I believe was $5 at Best Buy when I got it, so I couldn't resist. And this was actually a really good animated movie. I liked how it uses concept of the Day of the Dead, or El Día de los Muertos. It has some vibrant animation, just gorgeous all around. The voice acting I really liked. It makes me curious to see what Pixar can do with their upcoming Day of the Dead movie, Coco, that is going to be released out in the near future. The Dark Knight Trilogy Special Edition. This is the most recent addition to my Blu-ray collection, and I just love this trilogy. One of my favorite film trilogies of all time. Christopher Nolan is my favorite director just in general for film. He takes the concept of just the Batman character and his whole mythos and adapting it to the silver screen with such dramatic heft and levity. Just revolutionized what it means to even bring a comic book to the silver screen. All 3 of these movies I love. The Dark Knight in particular is my personal favorite and possibly one of my all-time favorite movies. I often say that it is because of just how much it had an impact on me when I first saw it in theaters back in 2008. But the trilogy as a whole just is a true showcase of how filmmaking can be magical to me. This release in particular does come with, of course, the actual Blu-ray, but also a very nice, if I can get it out, a nice letter from Christopher Nolan himself, and some frameable artwork from Mondo. The Descendants, another Blu-ray that I blind bought. I actually blind bought this because it was $5 like with the Book of Life at Best Buy, and this was a Father's Day gift from me to my dad. We both watched this on Father's Day last year. We both loved it. Really incredible performance from George Clooney. Shailene Woodley, this is her film debut. She did a really superb job. The whole ensemble cast did. The writing, the direction, really compelling film overall, a must watch. Edge of Tomorrow, yeah, that's right. I'm not calling it Live, Die, Repeat as the Blu-ray calls it. I'm just going to call it Edge of Tomorrow. Why was this movie even renamed so many times? It was originally adapted from a manga called All You Need Is Kill, but whatever. Fantastic movie. One of the most underseen movies, I think, of this current decade. One of the best action movies of the decade to me. Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt are badass in this movie. The action is so spectacular, and I think this is an original movie that more people should appreciate. Full Metal Jacket. Another film from Stanley Kubrick. On the back of this Blu-ray case it says, the best war movie ever made. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. There have been many great war movies over the years that have been made, but I can say for Stanley Kubrick to make a war film like this that is very distinct in its first half and its second half, I give him major props. This is another thought-provoking film of his. Pretty much all of his movies are thought-provoking if you think about it, and Full Metal Jacket is no exception. Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Yes, my previous video I did show this off when I reviewed the most recent Ghostbusters film, and I think that these two movies are pretty nice comedies. First one, again, instant comedic classic. Second one I do like, even though admittedly it's not as good as the first. But I do enjoy these movies because the cast just truly give it their all. The writing, the direction, the comedy. And in this release in particular, it's a digibook. When I open this up, you get to see that it comes with a letter written by director Ivan Reitman and full color pages given for the bios of these characters. This is a really nice release in my opinion. Hearts War. Admittedly, I haven't seen this movie. This is one of the first Blu-rays my dad got when we got our very first Blu-ray player, although this kind of looks interesting because it has Bruce Willis and Colin Farrell in the lead roles, and maybe one of these days I will get to watch it. Her. Probably my favorite romance movie of this current decade, and one of my favorite movies that came out in 2013. This is such an original, vividly, really heart-wrenching, and just very funny movie. Joaquin Phoenix delivers one of the best performances of his career. The whole ensemble cast does a very nice job. The whole look of the movie, the originality again, I cannot get over this film. The ending always gets to me every time I see it. Inside Out, my favorite animated movie of 2015 and one of my favorite movies of that year in general too. Pixar definitely brought back their sense of greatness with this original concept. The animation is beautiful. The writing in this movie is really thought-provoking even for a kid's film, but I think that makes it appeal to just about anybody if you do watch it. The voice acting, I think how it all comes together into an emotional experience really is something truly unique. Kingsman: The Secret Service, another movie that I've blind bought, mostly because I had a lot of people pestering me to even watch this movie to see what all the hype was about, and I mostly liked it. I did have several glaring issues with the film, mostly with the ridiculous plot, especially towards the end. I didn't really like Samuel L. Jackson as the villain, even though I do love him as an actor, but the lead performances from Taron Egerton and Colin Firth are dynamite. The action certainly is badass. I think this has a potential to have a really nice sequel once the sequel does get released. Everything is awesome because I own the Lego Movie on Blu-ray. I love Legos. If you are a longtime viewer of my videos, you know that I originally dedicated this channel to reviewing Lego sets, and when this movie came out, I was a bit skeptical, but it definitely surprised me with how great it was. This is actually the very first Blu-ray I've ever bought. The year it came out, that Black Friday, I saw it on sale for $4. $4 at Best Buy. Grabbed it like a crazy person. My favorite animated movie of 2014. The really just how the concept is all brought together and implementing the brand with the writing and how it's brought to the silver screen made it truly heartfelt and surprising once again. Voice acting, the animation, and how it beautifully mimics stop motion animation truly makes this one of my favorite movies of 2014 and just a really unique animated film. Mad Max Fury Road. My favorite movie of 2015, one of my favorite action movies of all time now, and my favorite action movie of this current decade. What can I say about this film that hasn't already been said about it already? George Miller, master film director, brought the franchise he originally created back to life in a boisterous way. The performances from Tom Hardy as the title character, Charlize Theron as the badass Furiosa. I just adore just about everything about this movie. It is a bona fide action masterpiece. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. This is another one of the first Blu-rays that my dad got when we got our first Blu-ray player. Haven't seen this film in a while. I hardly remember it, but I do remember liking it the most out of the entire franchise. Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow, iconic to say the least. The Revenant. One of my absolute favorite movies of 2015, Alejandro González Iñárritu has done it again with his follow-up to Birdman. It's another masterpiece just like that film. The cinematography in this movie is incredibly beautiful. Chivo Lubezki did a phenomenal job with all the long takes in Birdman and also in The Revenant to show off how gorgeous the dangerous forest is in the wintertime. Leonardo DiCaprio, he finally won an Oscar for this movie for Best Actor. He truly suffered in this movie. I think this is one of his best performances to date. Alejandro González Iñárritu also picked up his second Best Director trophy for this movie after Birdman. Just an all-around phenomenal movie. A lot of people say it's overlong, but I do think it's all worth it in the end to see what does happen during the finale as DiCaprio faces off against Tom Hardy's character. He also delivers an exceptional performance. This release, similar to Birdman, also does open up with more quotes praising this movie. Very awesome. School of Rock, one of my all-time favorite movies. This probably is my favorite comedy. I'm not sure. It definitely is one of. Jack Black in the lead role. This is my favorite performance from him. He is so fitting as this character. All the kids in this movie do superb jobs. Some of the best child performances I've ever seen in a movie. The writing, how it all comes together. It truly makes you feel good, and it's just so rewatchable in my opinion, just to see all the music being put on display and these characters interacting with one another. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, one of my favorite movies of 2010, one of my favorite comic book movies in general. I was a huge fan of the original graphic novels by Brian Lee O'Malley, and this movie just is an awesome culmination of how great the comics were. This is also, you can consider it a video game movie if you would, because there are a lot of video game references, a lot of geek references. The whole ensemble cast does an excellent job just bringing all these characters to life. It is a truly fun movie. Silver Linings Playbook, one of, if not my favorite movie from 2012, another great film from director David O. Russell. This film backs up my love for Jennifer Lawrence. This is a phenomenal performance that she gave in this movie. She, of course, won the Oscar for Best Actress. Well-deserved. Bradley Cooper was nominated for Best Actor. He was dynamite in this film. The whole cast was just really well put together. The writing, the direction, the dramatic moments, the comedic moments, it comes together in just a masterful way. I cannot recommend this movie more highly enough. Star Wars The Force Awakens, one of my favorite movies of 2015. All of the joy we had in watching the original Star Wars trilogy is brought back in spades with this movie. The cast, the ensemble cast, well put together all around. The way the old returning players pass the mantle to the new players in this start of the new trilogy. Such a nice sight to see. The visuals, all the production design, just really entertaining fun. And a black Blu-ray case. That is so fitting, and of course a different image if you take off the slipcover. Very nice artwork, just a very nice release indeed. The Theory of Everything. An excellent movie, one of my favorite movies of 2014. I loved how it balanced the romance angle and integration with how Jane and Stephen Hawking came together. It's not 100% totally accurate, of course, but I think as a film, riveting throughout. Eddie Redmayne gave an Oscar-winning performance in this movie. Phenomenal in this physical performance that he gave in the film. Cannot wait to see him in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Him. Really excited for that movie later this year. Felicity Jones, another terrific performance. I cannot wait to see her in Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. I am really excited for that movie too. Just a truly powerful movie overall. The ending in particular definitely got to me. Ultraviolet, one of the first Blu-rays my dad got with our first Blu-ray player, and I haven't watched this film yet because I've heard horrible things about it. But curiosity might get to me because it does star the beautiful Mila Jovovich, but I don't know. Maybe I might actually sit down to watch this thing. Maybe I won't. Whiplash, one of my absolute favorite movies of 2014. A technical masterpiece with the editing, the sound mixing, just all of what it does to really make you engrossed in it. The two lead performances, Miles Teller and Oscar winner now J.K. Simmons for this movie. Both of them have tremendous chemistry. The intensity of this movie is on high. One of the best endings I have ever seen to a movie. Damien Chazelle wrote and directed this movie to perfection. Really excited to see his next film, La La Land, later this year. Winter's Bone, starring Jennifer Lawrence and John Hawkes. This is personally my favorite performance that I've ever seen Jennifer Lawrence give in a movie because it is unlike any other role I've seen her take on in a movie. This role is the very reason she even got the coveted lead role as Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games franchise. John Hawkes also delivers a superb performance. This is a really interesting concept in how it takes itself on a smaller scale, but becomes really engrossing and intense. I highly recommend seeing this movie if you haven't already. X-Men First Class and X-Men Days of Future Past. These are my two favorite X-Men films. I do really enjoy the original trilogy, but these two take the cake for me in terms of X-Men movies. I think these are well put together movies, much more than even the other X-Men films. I love the new cast, the stories they take. X-Men Days of Future Past in particular is my personal favorite of the entire franchise. This release, of course, is the Rogue Cut. It comes with that and the theatrical version. And when you open it up, just like Birdman and The Revenant, it has more to see inside with some of the cast. Finally, my last Blu-ray to close off this collection video, my favorite movie of 2016 thus far, Zootopia. Of course, also my favorite animated movie of the year so far. I think this is probably the best Disney has ever put out in the last couple of decades, kind of last couple of years, just overall recent memory. I love this movie, the story, the characters, the animation, all of it, how it's put together truly impacted me, and I think it is one for the ages. So there we go. That closes off my Blu-ray collection. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment your favorite Blu-rays among my collection or some of the favorite Blu-rays that you own. Subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.